Lou?
Hi, welcome to
Hi.
channel.
Welcome to channel.
Rhino is here.
Oh God.
Cirrus is over there.
Am
People
I?
are hype training me. I'm being trained live on stream.
They're running a train on you right
Running
now.
a train on me. So
We
I
are
think
watching
that
it.
was Fennec resubscribed for 15 months. And then Rovi Learn just subscribed for the 15th month.
Yay!
So yeah, Rovi and Fennec are running a train on me. Welcome to the stream.
Stoff says, "Holy fucking beard, Rhino."
Holy fuck, yeah. So the thing is, I moved. I have not yet found a good place to trim my beard because the bathroom does not have a counter. It just has a sink, and I don't want all of this going down the sink. So this is not intentional. This is just I need to find a good place to trim, and I haven't done that yet.
Can't just grab like a Home Depot bucket and put it under your face.
I was thinking of waiting until Heidi sets up the vanity in the bedroom and then just using that, but she will be very angry if I do that.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
And Clueless Expert just gifted a subscription. Thank you for that. And welcome to whatever the fuck I call my things on Twitch, Jassa.
You call everybody Jassa?
No, I.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what my Twitch people are called.
Subscribers, followers,
I thought I had a cutesy name for them at one point.
Twitch tweeters.
No, that wasn't it. I know on Patreon my different levels are like baby rhinos, young adult rhinos, midlife crisis rhinos. If you give me, I think it's $100 a video. I call that midlife crisis rhino. And I had someone do that for a little while.
They were a midlife crisis Rhino.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine. Everybody's just a type of hammerite, and their size is all that changes.
Stratahawk says, "You call your thing Jassa?" That's its name.
I can't wait to stick Jassa in you.
Oh, indeed, indeed. Oh, what is the collective noun for rhinos? A crash. My Twitch crash.
Which is why
that actually Twitch crash sounds like something that would happen on my stream anyway.
Which is why the card that was used to summon an army of rhinos in Magic the Gathering is called Crashing Footfalls.
Yeah, sounds about
right. It is
right.
A crash of rhinos. It summons a crash of rhinos.
Yeah, is it the trampling rhino?
The rhinos don't have trample. They're just 4/4. Actually, do they have trample?
One of them had trample.
So, well, Crashing Footfalls made tokens. One sec. There
was a rhino in my deck that had trample. I remember.
Yeah,
that was what gave me. That was the one that inspired me to inspire you to put together your atheist YouTuber deck that you probably are not actually doing.
Crashing Footfall. Yeah, the rhinos do have trample with Crashing Footfalls. So the strategy with Crashing Footfalls was that the card costs 0 mana because it has an alternate casting cost that says, like, in order to get this card online, you have to suspend it for 4 turns, and eventually it just automatically casts. So you'd play an effect called Cascade, which says rip cards from the top of your deck until you hit a card that can be cast that's of a low mana value. You put no low mana value cards in your deck, just the Crashing Footfalls. So you just go, I play a card, and the end result is an army of rhinos get spawned. Every card I play has the end result of an army of rhinos being spawned.
You do like your minion decks, don't you?
I do. I enjoy decks that get a bunch of free creatures online, and then I get to sit back and watch them fight people. That is just enjoyable.
He's already strategizing for the Final Fantasy decks that are coming out.
Yep,
Watch out for
I
that
want
cactus.
to place. Oh yeah, no, my plan with the cactus is going to be Swords to Plowshare, Sanguine Bond. Sanguine Bond says when you gain life, an opponent loses life equal to the life you gained.
Okay, so
I'm
just one-shotting the whole board.
I'm just gonna be like, and one person, it only hits one person. It's gonna be like, and the person who pissed me off the most in this game of card game Mario Party
is no longer
gets
playing.
hit for 10,000. You get to watch us play Magic the Gathering now.
Sirs, come on, sirs, it's a Final Fantasy deck. It is very purposefully set at 9,999. You can't do 10,000 because that causes a stack overflow.
It gains 9,999 power, but it has 10,000 power at the end. But you're right. I'll have to find a way to lower his power by 1.
I feel like in Final Fantasy tradition, it should just ignore that and call it 99.99. Because anything more than that is a stack overflow, and it messes with the game, so it can't do that. So it just caps out. Anyway.
Jesus. Rose Kitsune, thank you very much for the follow. And Lorda's Art, thank you for the posture check. Gives me a chance to pop my back.
Oh, here, let me do a posture check to show off my sweet merch.
Viced Rhino merchandise from Viced Rhino himself.
Yeah, I actually do wear my own stuff.
I use my playmat at card shops, so I feel you.
And here come the hats. That's different, though, because then you have to explain to strangers why there's a big boobied version of you on your playmat.
Yes, I do. I enjoy doing that. That's fun.
Speaking of Rhino merch, let's start with the Gay Unicorn Gary hat.
Gay Unicorn Gary?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hells yeah. Okay. Okay, well, we both had kind of a rough day. Do we want to make it worse by actually talking about the news?
Do you really want to make my day worse? Is that the goal? Because I'm fine with that if that's the goal.
Rovio just redeemed a hydrate, which means
maybe you should hydrate.
I have to go to the kitchen for that though, because I didn't prepare.
Hydrate or dihydrate?
Okay, people are now discussing the difference between a stack overflow and an integer overflow in the chat, because apparently it wasn't a stack overflow, it was an integer overflow. A stack overflow would be more likely to happen at 4095 or 8191.
You did this.
Yeah, and as someone with enough programming experience to have recognized the difference, I probably should have recognized the difference.
Well, here you are now. This is the world you created for yourself.
Well, I know that a lot of the old school cheats using like Game Shark and stuff took advantage of Stack Overflow exploits occasionally. So I was just saying the one that came to mind first. Maybe. I don't know.
That's fair.
I'm going to the kitchen because the points cannot be ignored.
That is fair.
Have fun entertaining my guests.
Okay, I guess I'll entertain everybody. Hi, everybody. My name is Cyrus. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing on this stream, but I've been here for, oh God, has it been 2 years? Has it been like 2 years? I don't know. I just got invited on randomly and I just never left. I'm like a very bad roommate. I don't even really pay rent. I'm just kind of here in this box. It's not that roomy, though. It's really not a very roomy box. It looks like I've got plenty of room inside this box. Trust me, I do not. There is not enough room in this box for me to be comfortable, safe, sane, any of those other words that mean very slight variations of what I've said. Not quite synonyms, but analogous. Robbie says, "Is Rhino still on on his roller coaster tycoon kick?" I don't know. I have no idea. Also, Flamer Flame, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Welcome to my side of the stream. There's also Rhino's side of the stream. He's back now. He can't hear me though. Anyway, now that we're done narrating his peeing. Oh, hi, Rhino.
That wasn't peeing. However, speaking of peeing, whichever kid refilled the Brita pitcher, they use the hot water tap, so it has the no, it's not nice.
I've done that once on accident and it tastes fucking horrible.
The taste isn't bad. It's just the experience.
It tastes like your drink wants to be metal.
You're on a well.
I am on a well, yes.
So maybe you just have metal in your water. That
I
doesn't
mean, I
get
know I
filtered
have
by the Brita.
I know I have sulfur in my water.
That smells like rotten eggs.
It does. It does. I remember the builders for my parents' house.
You can pretend like you're rich. I've like just let people think it is rotten eggs. I got enough money to let eggs go bad.
Jesus Christ. Eggs are about $8 a dozen here now.
Yeah.
It's gross.
So what's funny though is they're about $8 a dozen here too.
But that's $8 Canadian.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say like, yeah, that is high, but I'm like, but when you do the conversion, that's like, especially as the Canadian dollar's in the toilet right now, so it's God, that'd be like $6 a dozen, 5 or 6.
So we've got. I went and did some shopping normally, and it's so usually our grocery bill is like $350-400, which is already too fucking much. That's double what it was a couple years ago. But this time the grocery bill was only like 100 some odd bucks because I was only able to afford getting a tiny handful of things. It felt bad going, I'm going to get ground beef, which is usually one of the cheapest cuts of meat you can get outside of like bologna and hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yeah, nope, $6 a pound.
If you get it the day before it expires, it's usually $1 per pound here.
Yeah, they don't do deals like that here at all. There's one place that does, or sorry, there's 2 places that do deals like that here, and it's Aldi and I think it's Food Depot. Yeah, Food Depot. Those are the only places that do those kinds of deals at all here. Walmart generally just doesn't.
Apparently ground turkey is cheaper than ground beef.
Ground turkey can be cheaper than ground beef, yes. Unfortunately, God, this sounds horrible when I say unfortunately I have an autistic girlfriend who can tell the difference. It sounds really bad when I word it that way, though.
It does, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, it is. She knows the difference between the taste in those things.
Speaking of water, though, I forget who sent it to my inbox, but I'm not using the news story. But I did pull from that news story a new clip for my soundboard.
I hope you look forward to one of these great pounding Trump showers again.
That was on Fox News.
Great pounding Trump showers.
Great pounding Trump showers.
Okay.
I hear there's a tape about that Putin has.
I haven't heard that, but it wouldn't surprise me either.
You hadn't heard about the P tapes? You don't know about the Trump P tapes?
No.
How? This is like 2016 stuff. Like,
nope.
That was the thing, is that like the suspicion is that the reason that Trump is so friendly with Putin is that Putin has a videotape of him in Moscow hiring hookers to pee on him. How have you...
I feel like blackmail only works on people who are ashamed of the things they do.
Yeah, but he also is very, very obsessed with his public image. So like, he wouldn't care that he had a tape of him having sex with prostitutes. He would care that he's into something that most people consider gross.
Like what you like, I guess?
You know what? I don't actually fucking care whether or not Trump would actually care about that. I'm just baffled at the fact that you had never heard of this before, because this is like...
No, I hadn't.
I'm sure I've made jokes about this on this show in the past.
Not that I remember.
Wow.
Yeah, no. This one's news to me.
You're blowing my mind. I don't understand how that's... How are you so plugged into the news cycle? But you don't...
No, I don't know about the Trump piss tapes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It has something to do with his last wife. She has a mafia father. Sure, whatever. I don't actually care about the details. I just... It's a meme at this point, or it's supposed to be a meme.
It's supposed to be a meme. I've just never heard of it.
Okay. Well, moving on to actual news. If I can find my button. Oh, married woman could be stopped from voting under the SAVE Act.
I have seen this because of the changes in their last names. Makes it to where like, oh no, we don't know if that's really you.
Fennec says Trump P-tapes is like Vance fucking couches. Yes. I probably would have made that analogy earlier, but as I explained to Surus in private chat earlier, Vance has a superpower in my brain in that unless I am actively seeing something to do with him specifically, I just forget that he even exists. He is resistant to object permanence for me. Like when he's not in front of me, it's just like, who? Oh yeah, that guy. He's a thing.
Yeah, because I sent you the speech in Munich.
Yeah.
And you were just like, oh yeah, that was a thing. Anyway.
It's like, yeah, no, I remember seeing clips about that now.
The one where he basically
but when you said his speech in Munich, I'm like, what?
The one where he lied about what fucking he lied about the dude who prayed in front of the abortion clinic. He lied about Germany's far-right nationalist party, the AfD. He went on record to say that I think Russia interfering with elections is bad, but if your democracy is strong, you should be able to handle it just fine.
That was one of the clips I saw.
Which is basically like saying I'm okay with Russia paying for advertisements in our area.
Tasha says that comes with the job of vice president. Disagree.
Oh,
when Biden was vice president, he was like king of the memes. Like, you remember the Joe Obama memes?
Yes.
They were amazing. But yeah, most vice presidents do kind of fade into obscurity. Gwenham82 just subscribed for the 6th month, so thank you for that, Gwenham82.
Let me let my cat in real quick. He is screaming at me.
They do that.
Come on, bud.
Don't let your cats in. They'll give you bird flu. That's the vector of bird flu to human, is through the cat. So don't do that. Leave them out. Leave the cats outside in the negative 17-degree weather that we're having right now. Sorry, it's only -8. Not to mention Al Gore had a good run as VP. Yeah, but nobody remembers him as VP. Everybody remembers him for losing to Bush. Yeah. -8 Celsius or Fahrenheit. Does it matter at that temperature? I mean, it's not quite down to where they're the same, but it's cold as balls.
It is cold as balls. What are we talking about?
I was talking about how you're going to get bird flu because you let your cat in, because cats are the vector that bird flu uses to get to humans.
Yep, I'm already aware of that, and that may be what we had all the symptoms for the last 2.5 weeks.
Oh, lovely.
So that may be what we had in the first place.
Rhino casually being cat phobic. Counterpoint, I would actually say don't let your cats out. Because if they just stay in your house, they ain't going to get bird flu. Just keep them safe. Keep them safe. Keep the local birds safe.
So a fun thing that I've thought about, just a fun little rhetorical thing. The conversation about how cats shouldn't be outside because they have no natural predators. I recognize the efficacy of the argument. Counterpoint, as a cat owner, I'm happy my cat doesn't have natural predators outside.
So no, it's not that they don't have natural predators. It's that they are themselves such strong predators.
Yeah.
So
no,
like,
I understand that.
They destroy the bird population.
I'm saying that both of those tend to also go part and parcel with one another.
Their natural predator is the car. Or in your neck of the woods, it's probably the F-150 with raised suspension.
Actually, in my neck of the woods, it's nothing because I live in the woods. I own 2 acres of land in the woods. There's nothing out here.
Yeah.
The most annoying thing my cat has to deal with is the feral cats that do not like when he walks outside for a minute or two.
Yeah. I forget what I was going to say. Anyway, back to the news article. That's a good segue back to what we're supposed to be talking about. Like, I forgot a thing. Where I live, the hawks will eat the cats. Yes, small dogs too. I learned about that one of the first times we tried Puddles off leash at my dad's house because he's got a couple acres. After we let her off and she was running around having a blast, my stepmother just kind of leans over and is like, you know, we have like not just hawks but like bald eagles in this area.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, what about it? And like, they can eat dogs that size. It's like, oh, okay then.
Yep, we have some of those in our area as well. The cats are mostly safe from it because they're quick enough, but the dogs are not. So if your dog is small enough in this area, they have to be outside with supervision 100% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that was back when she was more of a puppy. I think she's a bit too big for them now. But she's not huge. Anyway, married women could be stopped from voting under SAVE Act. The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, or SAVE Act. Who names these fucking bills? It's like, do they all have to be a clever acronym? Because we've reached a point where none of them are clever acronyms anymore. They just sound dumb.
Don't you like the DGE? Or we put the of in there because we forgot how acronyms fucking work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not official. It's not officially a government agency, so or a department, so they can't.
Isn't it technically officially one now because they changed? Instead of creating a new department, they just renamed a previously existing department.
Oh, they figured out that they had a department that was already doing that.
Yes,
and then it would be inefficient to have two of them.
They just renamed the department to Doge. Basically.
And fired everybody that worked there so that they could put Elon and his cronies in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Isn't it great? Isn't it wonderful?
Yay.
I love America right now.
That's okay. It's not fascism because he was elected.
I'm
still mad at Jon Stewart. What do you know?
I would be too. But I currently have his fuck Bill Murray song stuck in my head, so.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he's always bad. But he missed the mark on that one.
He did, because it ignores how fascism actually functions.
Yeah.
In every way, shape, and form.
Yep. Okay, so this act is intended to amend the National Voter Registration Act to ensure that all people registering to vote are U.S. citizens. Because, you know, making a law to say the laws are the law is totally worth time and energy.
I like how Douglas Dould Gisa says it's only fascism if it's in Italy. Otherwise, it's sparkling authoritarianism.
So I think the bit that we talked about it last time, when it came time to title the clip for that, I did something along the lines like it's only. You're gonna make me open up my fucking thing so I can check what the title is, because I feel like it was like I'm not gonna claim that it was like clever, but I feel like it deserves better than me trying to. Oh yeah, there we go. If it's not from the Nazi region of Germany, it's just sparkling fascism. Because that's, if you'll recall, oh no, that might not have been Jon Stewart. That was the that was when we were talking about that priest who was like, oh well, I am not a member of the NSDAP, you know, that party that doesn't exist anymore and so can't have members. Therefore, the fact that I agree with all of their stuff doesn't mean anything. I'm not actually a Nazi because I'm not a member of the party. Like, okay, buddy, fuck you. Anyway, so this is supposed to make sure that only U.S. citizens can vote, which that's already a thing. And the penalties for voter fraud are so high that, like, nobody who's not a U.S. citizen does, like, every election they catch, like, 5 people countrywide.
Mm-hmm.
So it would require people to present in-person documentation as proof of citizenship when registering to vote. Much of the documentation listed under the SAVE Act is based on having a birth certificate that matches the person registering to vote. However, as many as 69 million, married women in the United States have changed their legal name since getting married, meaning their name does not match their birth certificate per the Center for American Progress. So those women would potentially no longer be allowed to vote. I noticed that they don't mention this. That also would impact any trans people who have legally changed their name.
I think that it's supposed to target trans people, and then women are the collateral damage.
So I feel like this is actually they're trying to target immigrants and
who've
trans
married
people
in
and
order
women.
to
It explicitly targets immigrants. I would be willing to grant that it implicitly targets trans people. However, I think I would chalk this one more up to incompetence. But I do kind of understand why the media who wants to fight against this would be going more along the lines of, oh, you are harming housewives for that, because that is a demographic that they supposedly care about.
Yeah, they're gonna go for the people who,
whereas if they say
are more likely to be on the voting block.
Yeah, if you tell a Republican that, like, oh, hey, this bill that you created accidentally makes trans people unable to vote, the Republican's going to say, good. So that's not the way to try and change it. But, I don't know. I feel like we're past trying to change minds that way.
I think we're still in the...
I don't know if I said this last week, but one of the podcasts that I listened to, they said, we're not advocating for violence. However, it might be time to punch Nazis, because if we don't punch Nazis now, we might have to shoot them later. And so one of those options is less violent than the other.
Yeah, I understand where that sentiment is coming from. I don't like that that's the case. But I know that if you remember who Caitlin Bennett is, or by her other well-known title, Nazi Barbie.
Is she the one that pooped herself?
Yes, she's poop pants.
Yes, I remember Caitlin Bennett.
So Caitlin Bennett did a bunch of man on the street interviews, and she was posing as a Democrat the entire time. She had like a gay pride shirt on, and it was very obvious she was trying to dress like the other. But one of the people she interviewed was just like, nope, the time to punch Nazis is all the time. It's the correct thing to do. You're supposed to punch them. And she goes, oh, so who would you call up a Nazi? Elon Musk, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro. And if one of them was walking down the street right now, would you punch them? If given the opportunity, man, absolutely. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm willing to just accept that he's standing on business. She then tried to get him to do a Sig Heil.
Wait, is that her face in the emoji? In the poop emoji?
I don't know, but it might be.
I'm just going to pretend that it is.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I don't like violence, but some worldviews, it's the only way to respond to it.
Historically, it is how we responded to it.
We didn't win World War II by appealing to Hitler's better nature.
I mean, we technically did. His better nature was fucking killing himself, and we appealed to it really well.
Yeah,
mostly with M16s.
Technically, Hitler is the most moral person in history, because he's the only person that managed to kill Hitler.
He did what we couldn't.
Yeah. But, yeah, no. Daughter of Tiamat says, yes, that is her face. So,
Milk Boy says we didn't get queer rights without some violence too. Yep, and the Stonewall National Park tried to erase that recently.
Yeah, well, Stonewall National Park didn't try to erase that. They just caved when they were told to erase that.
I see no difference between those two statements. I'm going to be perfectly honest.
That's fair. Okay. Why it matters, they say. The United States is a democracy. Citation needed. Meaning all citizens, with the exception of children and some felons, have the right to vote. I don't know. I just... The fact that there are exceptions there kind of makes it amusing to me. Like, all citizens have the right to vote. Well, except these ones. And except these. And I get it. You're like, no, you don't want children voting.
No, you definitely don't want children voting, but you should be allowed to vote if you're a felon. I'm sorry. You're in a democracy. That is a right you should have access to. If a felon can run for president and win, then a felon should be allowed to vote.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you're voting for an office that could contain a felon and does currently contain a felon. So why would felons not be allowed to vote for it? Like, shouldn't... Like, that'd be like saying that black people weren't allowed to vote for Obama.
Oh no, he said Obama's like a felon. That's bad and wrong. Woke
No, I said you
liberal,
shouldn't...
don't you know what you've done there? Oh my god, listen to this woke liberal and his trash.
I mean, Obama was a bit of a war hawk, not gonna lie.
He was a bit of a war hawk, and a lot of the policies that are allowing techno-feudalists to get away with their shit right now started with him.
Yeah, no, he was one of those people that he's got a much better public image than I think he should have. Now, that being said, in this day and age, like, fuck, I'd take George Bush again.
In terms of amount of damage they have caused, yeah, things were a little simpler in Bush's time. And it seemed like basically everybody was on board with making fun of him, Republicans included, back then. They didn't think of him as some second coming of Christ.
Somebody threw a shoe at him.
Yep. Anyway, can we get more shoes thrown at Trump?
Daughter Tiamat says, you say like these same people won't be okay with black people not being allowed to vote. Yeah, I was kind of aiming for that, because that is an obvious thing that they kind of go for. Anyway, the SAVE Act would make it significantly harder for married women as well as many other members of the population to exercise their right to vote as Americans. There's about 146 million people with no passports, for whom it will be much more difficult if they have changed their name to register to vote under the SAVE Act. So if you don't have your passport, you need a form of ID and your birth certificate. And if you've changed your name, then the form of ID doesn't match the birth certificate, so fuck you.
Man.
And then they point out, it's already illegal to vote as a non-citizen, and several measures, including providing a social security number to register, matching voter rolls to federal data, and in many places bringing voter ID to the polls, are in place across the country to ensure only citizens can cast a ballot.
No, it's funny, from the same people who used the term, and unfortunately some people I respect used this exact terminology as well, why do we have the term hate crime, murder was already illegal? From those same people, shouldn't they be having that same energy when it comes to this shit right here?
Well, they should.
But they won't.
You know what they will have?
I hope you look forward to one of these great pounding Trump showers again.
They'll have pounding Trump showers.
Get out. Be done. Stop it. Get help. It's terrible that all I have to hear is that one tiny soundbite, and I know exactly what comes next.
Yeah.
The other Please don't tell me that I just came.
That one, right?
No, just the whole...
That's what comes next on the soundboard.
God damn it.
I mean, it could be worse. I could be oohing.
Oh, whoa. You could be. You could also not, and it would be a great improvement.
And I know Fennec loves it when I do this one.
You've been a bad little girl, and you're getting a vigorous spanking right now.
Look on the bright side, guys. Yeah, the soundboard is too loud. I know, I'm sorry. At least for most of the stream, I just forget that the soundboard even exists. And so, like, there's like 5 minutes where I push all the buttons, and then I'm done with it for the rest of the stream, mostly.
Yeah.
Most of the time, so just be glad of that.
Be glad that it could be worse, but it's not.
Yeah. I mean, I could do the classic YouTuber thing and be like, I don't make you watch my videos. You're welcome to leave. There's the door.
You could do that, or you can just do what I've been doing lately. That's interesting. Banned.
I'm not gonna ban Fennec for not liking my.
Oh no, I wouldn't
thing.
ban Fennec. No, so because of recent political shit, there's been an uptick in trolls coming into my chat. So I've just gotten a lot more liberal with the ban button.
I've been on my regular channel. I've been hiding users from the channel like I've been getting an uptick in similar comments, but like for me, it's it'll be like anytime I say anything positive about trans rights, you get the person to be like, oh, well, you're really good when it comes to debunking religious stuff, but you just fell for another religion when it comes to trans stuff. I don't know why I've been getting an uptick in those things recently, but I've just like in the past, I'd just let it slide and like, whatever. I don't care. You're not worth engaging. I'm just pretending I never even saw that comment. Now I'm just like, nope, you know what? I don't need this in my comment section. Hide user from channel. You don't need you don't need to talk anymore.
I used to be more of a quote free speech absolutist on stuff like that, where I was like, my channel is a place where you all should be able to engage in conversation. I'm at the point now where I'm just like, nope, we are curating bullshit.
Like,
bullshit gets curated. Sorry, bye.
You engage in conversation that doesn't make me mad. Anyway, next up. Ohio state lawmakers introduce a bill to make unprotected sex a felony. This one was sent to me by Fennec.
What?
Yeah. Have you not heard about this one? Because this is a little bit old.
No, I didn't know that Ohio lawmakers introduced a bill to make unprotected sex a felony. What? Why?
It is called...
Of course it's in Ohio.
It's called the Conception Begins at Erection Act. It's, I love the way it's written. It's a ballsy move, but 2 Ohio state representatives have introduced a bill that would make it illegal for men to have unprotected sex if it's not intended to make a baby. And if the Conception Begins at Erection Act passes, men in Ohio could be charged with a felony if they discharge genetic material without intending to get a woman pregnant.
Discharge genetic material without the intent. So masturbation is bad.
No, they have an exemption for masturbation.
They have an exemption for masturbation.
They do. However, discharge genetic material could mean a lot of things. Like, there is genetic material in your saliva, so you're not allowed to spit. You're not allowed to blow your nose.
Yeah, I don't understand why.
So it will become clear. The bill does provide exceptions.
It will become clear.
Yes, it will become clear because you're not allowed to have anything in the cum.
You can't have anything in the cum, no. No pooping, no crying, no blowing your nose, no peeing on Donald Trump. That's genetic material you've discharged without the intent of making a baby.
I think if all is going well, I don't think there's supposed to be genetic material in your pee.
You think there's not DNA in the pee?
It's
like any kind.
In theory, it's just like ammonia and stuff, right?
I mean, see, this is the area where I'm not an expert, so I actually don't know.
So I know that there is a myth that pee is sterile, which is a myth that is not true.
Yeah, where people are like, pee on the wound, sterilize it.
Okay, that I hadn't heard. I thought it was like peeing on a jellyfish sting makes it sting less, which is also false. It will make it sting more. Yeah, Fennec says, I mean, surely some urethral cells would come off with it. Would that count as a discharge, though?
I mean, I think definitionally, peeing is discharge.
Yeah, but
it
the
is
urethral cells just
pee.
shedding off into it is not discharging the cells. It's whoops, it got scraped. I don't know. This all hinges on what counts as a discharge.
They're just trying to make gay sex illegal, I guess.
No, they're not. No, they're not. There's an exemption for LGBTQ
There's an exemption
people.
There's an exemption for gay sex?
So the bill provides exceptions if the male partner uses protection or contraception, masturbates on their own, donates sperm, or is a member of the LGBTQ plus community.
So wait, hold on. That means if you're a bisexual man and you fuck a woman unprotected, then you are exempt from this bill.
I suppose yes.
You're a member of the LGBTQ community. It's the B.
I'm aware of that.
And you discharged without intent to make a baby.
I love how everybody's going into okay. Autistic bio-nerd here. Piss has dead red blood cells in them after your body takes the iron out of it. So yes, they do. No, red blood cells don't they not have genetic material in them? Isn't that like the red blood cells whole thing?
Jessa says the people who elected these two voted for Vance.
And no. Okay, it's how have you not figured this out yet? Anyway, Fennec says also if you ejaculated recently, you may have some rogue sperm that could end up in the urine. So I've just hacked this whole thing by having a vasectomy. So
I see. You're maxing over there.
But also, I guess I am technically in the LGBTQ community, so
the B.
So
or the P.
I guess that's just technically I would be in the Q.
That's just the Q. Yeah, that's just the Q at that point. The idea that expanding the acronym further and further when the Q exists just no. The Q is there for that.
Yeah. And they say, you think it sounds nutty? Yes, I do think it sounds nutty.
Yeah.
You'll get no arguments from Representative Anita Samani, who co-sponsored the bill with fellow Democrat Tristan Rader. So this was a Democrat-sponsored bill.
Why?
Why? It's to provoke this reaction from Republicans. Say, hey, you are regulating women's bodies. We're going to regulate men's bodies.
I mean, I guess, but like it's still nightmarishly stupid, but I guess calling it nightmarishly stupid is the point.
Okay. Axo says Google says red blood cells have DNA fragments. So they don't have cell nuclei, I think. But that's still genetic material. Anyway. So one of the sponsors of the bill says, is my bill offensive because it dares to attack men? Maybe, but again, as an OBGYN, she is an OBGYN, by the way, just in case you hadn't figured that out from me saying as an OBGYN just now. So as an OBGYN, I am against regulating anyone's reproductive rights, she said. Those decisions, she argued, should be between the patients and the physician without criminal penalties being built into bills conservative organizations are promoting across the country.
While fair, what happens in the nightmarish scenario where this gets voted on as a yes?
Well, that's why all the exemptions were built into it.
As a just in case, like if this happens,
if it actually passes, it's got no testicles. It doesn't have the balls to actually. It is impotent.
I see where you're coming with this.
So yeah, because like if you go through these exceptions, it's basically like the only time you would be having sex with someone in violation of this bill is if you are not using any contraception whatsoever. Actually, no. I suppose okay, no, so this does still affect straight men if their partner is like on the pill or something. Because they are not using contraception, their partner uses it. Okay, so it does still have some teeth.
Milk Boy says, what I want to know is how would this be enforced? So if you want to know how something like this would be enforced in a nightmare scenario, then look at the history of Florida's cohabitation bill. So Florida has a bill on the books that says that cohabitation without marriage is illegal. In times past, it has been enforced. And the way it was enforced was by asking fellow citizens to tattletale on one another. This is literally the only way that stuff like this works is when the citizenry.
So what I'm hearing is
Yeah.
this would take some cooperation with some willing lady folk to basically do a big honeypot operation on all of the GOP members.
You're in
of Congress.
violation of the Cum Bill.
Like, hey, I would like to, like, I was using protection, but he wasn't. Therefore, yeah, this could be good. I wouldn't expect anyone to actually. I would not ask a woman to sleep with a Republican, because that's just gross. There's some things that are just like.
There are some things that should always be beneath you and not in a sexy way.
Yeah. Men. Oh yeah. So they're she's talking about how it's unfair that in what is ostensibly the developed world, men and women don't actually have equal rights depending on where you go. So men can go in any state in the United States and have the same rights no matter where they are, but women can't. Okay.
That's a fun thing about the whole like argument about let's give this stuff back to the states.
Yeah.
Do you think geography changes what's moral and what's not? Is that
the only thing that states' rights has ever been used for is to make people not have equal rights? Like, it was slavery back in the day, it's women's rights now, it's LGBTQ rights now. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Always has been, gun to head.
Anyway, yep, that's basically all that, but yeah, that was fun.
Yay, the Cum Bill.
The Cum Bill. I kind of hope it passes. It's not going to. Because they would never pass something that regulates men's bodies. That's the whole point.
Just things that regulate women's bodies.
Yeah. Okay, last up.
Last one, what we got?
Super Bowl licks ads ruin family time once again.
Not.
I assume that's
What?
it's just Super Bowl licks.
I didn't see this ad, so I don't actually have context.
Oh, it's more than one ad. This comes to us from 1millionmoms.com.
Oh.
So that's the screenshots from the Carl's Jr. ad.
Okay.
Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
That feels like something you would have in the middle of Idiocracy.
Yeah, I know.
This bill co-sponsored by Carl's Jr.
So I will just, since you didn't pick up on it, I will just mention so that people don't think I'm an idiot. I know it's not Super Bowl licks. I know that's Roman numerals. But I don't care about the Super Bowl. So that's my way of denigrating it without calling it sports ball.
No, don't you understand? Super Bowl's American tradition brings families together to destroy Philadelphia.
No, it'd be 59, Fennec. Because L is 50, X is 10, and because the I is in front of the X, you subtract 1 from the 10, making it 59. Because I know how Roman numerals work, because I'm a fancy boy.
Because you're a fancy boy?
I like my fancy clocks with the Roman numerals and the tickety-tock and the mechanisms and the spinning gears and everything. And
I like the clock with the face on it. Anyway. Bro, you have at least a touch of the tism.
I do, well, I mean, it's genetic, and at least 2 of my kids also do more than a touch.
There you go.
More than a touch. It actually it's interesting watching all of the kids. And how, like, now that I have these diagnoses for my kids, I'm just like, so her kids are like this, but my kids are like that. Is that the tism? So there's things like when her kids are just getting old enough that they can take care of themselves in the shower. You just get the shower ready, plunk them in it, and they'll call out when they need the towel. And it kind of annoys me because they'll get shampoo in their eyes, and then they just scream, towel, 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 until you show up with the towel to wipe the shampoo out of their eyes. And yeah, I guess rinsing doesn't work because the water kind of irritates it as well. But like, I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. It hurts. But like, what I do is that I make sure that like I wash my hair while looking up so that the water runs back, and I rinse it when it goes back, and that's the last thing I do. So once I'm done that, I get out and I dry off, and none of it has to get in my eyes. My kids figured that out. Like I never had an issue with them getting stuff in their eyes every single shower. So I'm just wondering, like, is that a sensory thing? Like, it's an autism thing where like it's not just the, oh, it hurts when it's in my eyes. It's the, oh,
It's that it's a sensory overload I can't control.
Yeah. Or, no, I can control it. So I learn how to control it, and I do control it. So I'm wondering.
Yeah, it might be.
So, like, that's one of those things. And it's like, because that's it's something that I want to be annoyed at, that, like, why are you screaming for the towel? You could just not get soap in your eyes. But, like, I can't get annoyed at it because it's a child who is in pain and just needs a towel to stop the pain.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
They have issues with this ad and not the Kanye West ad.
So this is something also that kind of drives me nuts. Like Alex is saying, are you keeping your eyes open like a madman in the shower? No, you close your eyes when when you wash your face or whatever. You close your eyes, wash your face or whatever. But like, it still stings when they're open. Does it not sting for most people?
What, like just washing your eyes in the
just,
shower?
Just normal tap water. Get normal tap water in your face. Does that not sting a little bit?
I mean, I wouldn't say it stings. I would just say it's kind of uncomfortable.
It stings. I don't know. Maybe that is the touch of the tism. Maybe it is uncomfortable for most people, but stings for me. Because that is something that I have noticed throughout my life, is that other people just seem fine with... no, we all know Rhino wears goggles. No, I don't wear goggles. I just don't put my head underwater in the pool.
Yeah, I can't open my eyes in the pool. That's uncomfy.
I don't even go underwater in the pool.
Why not though? It's nice down there. There's no sound.
But then the eyes hurt when you come back up.
You just close your eyes when you go into the water.
No, yes, you close your eyes when you go in the water, but there's still water on your face when you come back up, and you have to either keep your eyes closed for a while all the water runs off and you like dry it off properly, or it's not acceptable.
I feel like, dude, you are very autistic.
Yeah, apparently.
It's just water.
No, there's chlorine in there. It hurts.
Not enough to cause too much issue. Like, yes,
hurts.
enough to hurt
painful.
if it gets in your eye, but like...
Yeah, so just don't
just
go
don't
underwater
let it get in your eye.
Yeah, by not going underwater.
No. I refuse. The water is nice. It's fun. It's great. Admiral Generous is today on Tism Talks.
Yeah, no, I still am not officially diagnosed. However, I did have one of the psychiatrists who diagnosed one of my children just kind of spoke to me and like, oh, and you are also autistic, so you understand. And I'm like, what do you mean I am also autistic? I'm like, oh, are you not? No, you are. It's like, okay, I guess you can tell.
Game recognizes game.
Yeah. Clueless Expert says, you've been unofficially diagnosed 1,000 times. I know, but there are some people that don't catch every stream, so I have to retell the story. And I guess you're talking about you guys. Yes, been diagnosed by committee. Sure. Yeah, my partner makes fun of me because I didn't know. She actually, early in our relationship, she used to play a game where she would like make eye contact with me and just see how long it would take me to like look away. Because I know, like, you're supposed to be making eye contact with the person that you are dating, like, but now she is like making unblinking staring eye contact. I don't know what to do now. Like, how long is the appropriate amount of eye contact? Am I going to be too so I like get in my own head about it?
You just never stop.
And so like, no, I just
wait until they get uncomfortable.
That would never happen.
So then you just sit there and you eventually have a war of attrition that gets funnier and funnier.
I mean, thankfully she had a dog, so like there was always going to be a distraction at some point. That oh, look at the cute little puppy that is suddenly here. But yeah, anyway, Super Bowl licks ads ruin family time once again. Brought to you by Carl's Jr. I also love that it's on 1 Million Moms, and I like calling it licks because that is another layer of suggestiveness that they would not appreciate.
Yeah.
Super Bowl licks was no different than years past when it came to inappropriate commercials airing while families across the U.S. watched.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, no, that's par for the course. Everybody knows Super Bowl ads are kind of spicy. She says, the ads are why many families choose not to watch the big game.
No, the ads are why many families choose to watch them. They are objectively the best part of the Super Bowl.
Do you know how many people do not care one whit about football, but they will still watch the Super Bowl because they want to see the ads?
Yeah, it's the Super Bowl ads are one of the only redeeming qualities the damn thing has.
Yeah. And what's really funny about this is that I don't think they don't go into the history of it, but Carl's Jr., like when they announced that they were going to be doing the skimpy bikini ad thing or whatever.
It's not the first time they've done that.
It's not.
They've done this before.
But all the news articles about it were talking about how like, oh, they're going back to, and I think 1 Million Moms did a thing on just that ad at one point. If not, as some Christian organization like them did. But they were like, Carl's Jr. used, like they gave up the lascivious sexy ads or whatever. They went back to like wholesome ads for a couple years, but now they've dropped the ball and they're back to the scantily clad women. It's like, okay, do you not remember, like, if you actually look into the history of what happened, they stopped doing sexy ads specifically to make fun of the people that were complaining about sexy ads. So the fact that they weren't for a couple years was a dig on 1 Million Moms, and now they're back and they're...
And now 1 Million Moms is like, oh my God, think of the children. Why can't we stop thinking of the children? Yeah. I'm not saying that every member of 1 Million Moms is that kind of person. I am just saying that right-leaning people tend to do that more often than left-leaning people. It's weird.
Also, there's only about 4,000 of the 1 Million Moms. It's worth mentioning. Yeah. Carl's Jr. aired an extremely distasteful commercial that was nothing short of soft porn, starring the scantily clad Alex Earl. If you think that was soft porn, you need better soft porn, because like she wasn't even in a particularly scantily, like, here I am on YouTube right now. Like I'm streaming. If I watch soft porn on stream, it will get cut off. Oh, yep. Hey, you guys can't see him. He's been cut off, but I'm being recommended the claw spa guy that trims the barnacles off the lobsters. What was I doing?
Oh, he's the guy who gives them a snack and then throws them back into the ocean. Yeah, that's the one. I love him.
Yeah, he's great. Carl's Jr. Super Bowl commercial. I'm going to mute it because
copyright.
But like, I'm just going to
real
what the
and
fuck
raw.
Is this?
Why are they using the Harry Potter font?
I don't know, but like, that's softcore porn. I mean,
that's just somebody could just be wearing that at a fucking beach.
Yeah, that's a lot to wear at the beach. Okay, it is cut off a little bit. You can the cum shot.
The money shot is real.
Like, oh no, side boob.
Okay.
Like, that was not softcore porn.
No, it was not.
Like,
it's more funny than anything.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one who spot. Oh, Nate the Hoof guy is greater than the Claw Spa guy. I'm not familiar with
the Hoof guy's great. His videos are satisfying as shit.
Is he the guy that like he'll poke a horse's hoof and a bunch of pus falls out?
Yep.
Okay, no, I don't care for the pus removal things that everybody seems to think are super satisfying. But yeah, no. So I actually really don't like the Carl's Jr. ad, but that's because what's her face? Alex Earl? Shit actor. Just not a good actor. Like, you could tell she was like reading her lines off a cue card that some guy was holding beside the camera or something. Like, it was not good. You guys didn't get that because I muted it, but yeah, no, it was. So like, me and 1 Million Moms are on the same page. It wasn't a good ad, but like for different reasons. Then, WeatherTech Super Bowl ad featured several grandmas gone wild, later showing one of the older women facing a guy and flashing him her chest when she won at bingo. Her back was toward the viewers, but obviously she was revealing her chest. Oh no. I saw that commercial too. I'm not playing that one because that one's less funny without the audio, but it is music that will get me copyright struck. So you guys can go look that one up too. It's pretty funny. My issue with that ad was that I still don't know what WeatherTech is. Like, I watched the whole ad and I was waiting for at the end, WeatherTech, the best such and such that money can buy or whatever. And it's like, no, it never said. It just assumed you already know what they are. I assume it's something for old people. But yeah, and it says she was revealing her chest. The way it's filmed, I'm pretty sure it was intended that she still had her bra on. Apparently they're car mats and floor liners. That makes sense because what featured very heavily in the ad was like one of the little old ladies as they were driving like mad women in their car was like steeping a cup of tea that at one point falls.
And it falls on the floor mat. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, see, if I knew that there were floor mats, I might have made that connection and been like, that's a WeatherTech floor mat, so it doesn't matter that you spilled your tea. I thought it was old people. I was expecting it's going to be like, because you Americans and your stupid drug commercials, I was assuming it was going to be like some old people drug that's supposed to make you feel like a young person again or something.
Yeah, that's almost always a Viagra ad.
Yeah, it
makes you feel alive.
A Viagra ad wouldn't feature women as the main cast, though, generally.
Yeah, it's always some old man who's happy with, like, another old woman who's like, finally, I don't have to do it with the pool boy anymore.
Something like that. Then, okay. The Your Attention Please Novartis breast cancer awareness commercial featured bouncing breasts up close and zoomed in cleavage shots the entire ad.
Are you aware of breast cancer now?
A good third of the ad was just an old lady who's, I forget her name. She's a comedian. She's fucking hilarious. So it's driving me nuts that I forget her name. God damn it. Whatever. So like a third of the commercial was her just being like, hey, get your breast screened. Get screened for breast cancer. And the whole point of that ad was actually like, hey, can we stop staring at boobs so much in situations where it's inappropriate and spend more time... Wanda Sykes, that's the one. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. So like the whole point of the ad was stop staring at breasts when it's inappropriate and start having doctors stare at your breasts to determine whether or not you have breast cancer, I guess. Like, I get what they were like. It wasn't just a gratuitous, here's a bunch of boobs.
Even if it were, though, I maybe it's just because it's 1 Million Moms. My brain is just like, I don't know if I would care.
Even if it was just a bunch of gratuitous boobs and be like, hey, we like these, why not take care of them? I would still be okay with that. Because, yeah, I also like breasts, and I would like them to not have to be amputated because of cancer. And Fennec is getting a mammogram next week.
Men have cleavage, too. It's just in a different place. Yeah, it's called our buttholes. We have cleavage in our buttholes. Technically, women do too, but, you know, buttholes.
Butthole.
The fractured butthole.
Okay, and then of course there was the offensive Hellman's advertisement that 1 million moms warn parents about ahead of the big game. That one was boring. It was Billy Crystal and what's her face reenacting that scene from that one movie.
I'm just curious if you're one of the members of 1 Million Moms and you think that the Super Bowl ads ruined the experience for you. Did any of them ask their husbands? And not like in a threatening, you'll be sleeping on the couch and you won't get hanky-panky for 2 months if you answer the wrong way. But like, did any of them ask the other people in any of their groups how they felt about these things? Or are they just going from a position of authority?
From a position of being one of the 1 million moms, you can't ask that question without it being a wrong answer has you sleeping on the couch sort of thing. So like, you can't, like, because the thing is, like, you ask your husband, hey, did you enjoy seeing those boobs? The answer is always no, or you're in trouble. You're not allowed to enjoy seeing boobs other than your wife's boobs. Meanwhile, my partner and I, the basis of our relationship before we moved in together was we were sending each other TikToks of sexy ladies dancing and stuff, because she also likes boobs.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be with Saki, where we could just be like, hey, this person over there, they're very fucking attractive. 10 out of 10 would rail.
Yeah. We bonded over our mutual attraction to Scarlett Johansson.
Hey, there you go. Nothing wrong with that.
We both like redheads.
Gwenham says, I like boobs so much I grew my own.
Yeah. So all these ads had one thing in common. They were sexually suggestive. No, they weren't. Not all of them. And extremely inappropriate to air while families were likely watching. They were like, okay. The kids aren't going to get that the condiments flying into that guy's face in the one ad was a cum shot
supposed
joke.
to be cum.
The kids aren't going to get that. And as far as how she was dressed is going, there's, I don't know, it just didn't seem bad to me. Like, have you ever been to a beach?
Yeah. Like if you've seen women in bikinis and you were able to control yourself and act like a normal human being, then you'll be okay seeing a bikini on the television set.
Yeah, and children are not immune to noticing such implied immoral behavior. Counterpoint, they kind of are. Like, to a child, like my partner's kids, if they see a naked person, it's not immediately summoning thoughts of what they would consider to be immoral activity. It is, tee-hee, that's a naked person. I saw your butt. I saw your penis.
I actually have a example of this happening in my childhood. So, has anybody in the chat ever seen the old show Time Squad? The premise of the show was that there was a group of 3 people, a robot, a space cadet, and then a kid that just wasn't really supposed to fucking be there. And their job is to go back in time to major historical events and make sure that they happen correctly, because apparently time works like a rope, and the longer that the time goes on, the longer it tries to unravel. Yeah, the animated show? Yes, that one. So there is a episode where they go to make sure that I think it's the Boston Tea Party happens. And for some reason, everybody in the Boston Tea Party decided to become a nudist. I don't know why.
I mean, that's an improvement over what they did in actual history, because they hid their identities by dressing up in red face.
Yeah, true. So. But I don't remember the exact reason why they were doing that. So the main cast had to strip themselves naked so that they blended in with the rest of the Boston Tea Party nudist colony, and then had to try to convince them to instead focus their efforts on doing, the historical event that mattered. And I remember laughing at it because as a kid, I was like, oh, it's that thing I read in my history books, but everybody's naked. That's not supposed to be that way. Ha ha. And it was a show on Cartoon Network, so obviously you didn't see anything. Like, you didn't see butt, you didn't see penis, you didn't see any of that shit. It was all camera shots from the waist up. No different than if you had a person wearing shorts. So I remember explaining that episode to my mom, who was a very conservative Christian. And she, instead of laughing, was horrified about, no, how could they possibly air that on children's television? How could they do that? That's terrible. And I'm just like,
it is
as
the
a
reaction,
kid going,
it is their reaction that clues kids in that, oh, there's something else going on here. Because other than that, it's just like, haha, funny, naked person.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there trying to figure out, like, I don't understand what's wrong here. It's a funny naked person. And like that, I hadn't gotten the sex talk or anything yet. I didn't know any of this shit. So I couldn't understand why this was wrong.
Yep.
So, no, the only way that kids are going to know that that shit's inappropriate is when the adults are sitting there clutching their pearls about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, shall we move on to some tweets?
Sure, we can move on to some tweets.
So, the program that I use to display them is IrfanView, and IrfanView is great. It's lightweight, but it also behaves a little funny sometimes.
Okay.
So it might be a little funny today. I think it's fine.
Mr. Gribble says I just checked the episode, and the Tea Party people weren't in full red face for the episode. At least they were just wearing feather headbands. So they at least toned that part down a little bit for that episode of Time Squad.
Okay.
How's it going, Naki Dave?
And kids curse all the time. Yeah, tell me about it.
Concerned citizen. Wait, no. Are we seriously still blaming?
Yeah.
Still blaming plane crashes on DEI? How?
Yeah. The plane crash in Toronto was because of DEI. Because they had an all-female unmanned crew.
What?
Except there's, to the best of my knowledge, there's been no information about the pilots released. And it is entirely possible that all the flight attendants were female. Because a lot of flights have all-female flight attendants, because that is a job that has mostly women working at. So
I only recently realized that apparently it's considered a glamorous position.
I don't know that it is anymore. I know it used to be.
Because, like, I was watching Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead and seeing the characters' reactions that, like, the women they were talking to were flight attendants. I was like, oh, I wasn't aware this was a glamorous thing. Huh. Okay.
I think back when air travel was still fairly new, it was. Because, like, oh, this is someone that goes on those newfangled airplanes all the time. Or, like, you know, I only get to go on an airplane, like, maybe once every couple of years, if I'm lucky. But like they work on an airplane, so it's kind of a thing like that. And also flight attendants are very highly trained in a lot of like safety related things.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know that, or they ignore that, because like they do announce it at the beginning of every fucking flight, and like with the whole "they're here for your safety first" thing, and they will also get you peanuts if you know, if everything else is fine. But everybody just kind of sees them as glorified waitresses, which is not the case. And honestly, I almost feel like having them serving drinks and food and stuff is kind of demeaning for the amount of training they have to go through. But at the same time, I get why that's not a separate job.
Yeah, shoving that many people onto the plane to do multiple different tasks is just kind of inefficient.
Yeah.
But how does he square the circle
of... If it was unmanned, how could it have an all-female crew? Think about that for a second.
Yeah, I think he's trying to say unmanned.
Unmanned.
Because there's no men on it.
Yeah.
Unless this person just doesn't know what the term unmanned means.
Well, man, I mean...
This reminds me of the person who got angry at Niall on Twitter for saying Magic players should respond to people asking what kind of deck they play the same way that conservative people talk about pronouns. When somebody goes, "Hey, what kind of deck you playing?" I don't know. I never really thought about it before. And somebody got pissed at her saying, "How dare you bring politics into my card game?" Like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, you pansy.
It's a nerd game. Where do you think politics... Like, did you think there wasn't politics in it already?
Which people do you think are going to be more concerned with politics? Normies or nerds? Probably nerds.
Mm-hmm.
We got to nerd out about something, and sometimes it's politics. Jesus Christ.
Next up, okay. I want to preface this. The actual words that this person is saying, like, it's transphobic nonsense that we've tackled a bazillion times on this channel before. There's nothing special about it. So I want to approach this from a slightly different angle.
Okay.
So don't point out the obvious transphobia right in the middle of the tweet, where we get to the end and approach it from a slightly different angle. So Genevieve, or Genevieve, depending on whether French or English is your first language, Genevieve Gluck says, "There's no such thing as a trans person. There are men with pathological sexual fetishes and women with crippling body dysmorphic disorders. Both demographics exist because of porn." Okay, so
no.
Yes, we all know that is false and stupid.
Okay.
But what fascinates me about this is the just the way the patriarchy just permeates everything with this. Like, it's not like, why can't men have crippling body dysmorphic disorders and women have pathological sexual fetishes? Why is it men with the sexual fetishes and women with the body dysmorphic disorder?
Because we have to have a division of sexism.
Yeah.
We have to.
So this, like, yeah, it's transphobic bullshit, but, like, it's also misogynistic bullshit. It's like, it's bullshit from so many different levels.
Admiral Transu says, nerds love politics, especially fictional politics. Yeah, you get people talking about, like, shit that happened within the political sphere of the Empire in Star Wars. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, I read the title crawl of episode 1.
I read the title crawl of America as well.
Fucking George Lucas just sitting there laughing.
Have you seen that have you seen that video, or not video, it's a post that says that just write down the news of what's been happening in the United States, but put it through a Star Wars title crawl so the conservatives can understand it?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know, because I was conservative when I was younger, and I never really paid it. Like, I liked Star Wars, and I read the title crawls, but I never really
put 2 and 2 together on them.
Not really like, I never imagined the broader story that it was hinting at.
That's fair. That's entirely fair.
I mean, that might just be due to how I read things, because, like, I actually really like audiobooks over like reading myself, because I find I get bored with descriptions, because I don't have that thing where you can't picture anything, but it is difficult for me to picture actual pictures. I have to put effort into imagining a scene or, like, a thing that I like, an actual image, rather than just thinking the words. And so, like, I tried reading Moby Dick when I was a teenager. I could not get through that thing because the dude spends like 2 whole pages describing how to tie a knot. I'm like, I'm not following this imaginary knot through all these steps. So, like, fucking no. That ain't gonna happen.
I'd imagine it just gets tiring.
Yeah, so I'm just like, okay, you're describing a knot, but what is happening with this knot? I don't care what the knot looks like. But Yeah, anyway, I'm not sure how we got to Moby Dick knots from Geneviève Gluck.
Dick knots.
Dick knots. There's one thing I've learned from the furry community is that dogs have those.
That is true. Anyway.
Moving on. Okay, so Apologia says, from a strongest possible evidence perspective, Jesus would have just stayed on Earth living for thousands of years for each generation to get to know. To which Gohan pro-life, but do you think Gohan would have been pro-life?
I don't think Gohan is pro-life.
No? Oh.
In fact, actually, I can guarantee you he's not pro-life because his job is as a researcher.
Oh,
his job is in the field of science. Also,
Okay.
they perform an abortion in Dragon Ball Z.
Dark Falcon says, as a guy who was a Boy Scout, I enjoyed that part. I was a Boy Scout too. Guess which badge I didn't get?
Like, there is a moment where they do abort one of the villains in Dragon Ball Z. So Gohan's definitely not pro-life. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been okay with aborting Cell when that happened. Silly Shinobi going Krillin aborted Cell. Yes, Krillin aborted Cell.
Okay. So anyway, what Gohan says is, or he would have just made us robots and programmed us to believe in him.
Oh,
Divine
whoa.
hiddenness is the laziest atheist argument. That's not what, like,
It's not really an argument so much as it is saying, hey, realistically, why the fuck?
he just seems to, like, he's not even considering the implications of what Paul said, because, like, Jesus just persisting for thousands of years and introducing himself to each generation, that is within God's capabilities, and just having a dude there who can introduce himself to you does not take your free will away.
No, it doesn't.
It's just a
It's
dude.
just giving you evidence. And if you say,
So, like,
hey,
to say-
you should believe this without evidence, why?
To extrapolate from that to, like, oh, well, he might as well just make us robots and program us to believe in him. It's like, no, those are two very different things. One does not lead to the other. Naramdaput says, if free will sends me to hell, I don't want it. Yeah, that's true. Like, if the choices are I don't have free will and I have eternal paradise, or I do have free will and I end up in hell, I would rather live in eternal paradise. But yeah. And this is, of course, assuming that eternal paradise would actually be paradise,
Oh,
not the way heaven is described in the Bible. Because I like blowjobs. Jesus said there's no
Yay.
sex in heaven. So, not paradise. The Morbid Palace, thank you for your 10 bits. Oh, official map change just dropped.
Gulf of... God damn it!
That's not what it says, sir. Read it properly.
I will not. No.
Do it. Somebody redeem right now so he can say it.
No.
Do it.
No.
Do it.
No. That's not happening.
Someone's got to have the points. Someone's got the points.
Are you going to hold the stream hostage until it happens?
Absolutely. Oh, hey, look, it's Jacksonville. You're from somewhere up there. Pensacola is near Jacksonville, right?
Pensacola's where I'm from. God damn it, Morbid Palace. Why the fuck did you have to go with Rhino's goddamn bullshit anyway?
Say Gulf first. Gulf it first.
Gulf of Uwu.
Yeah.
Gulf of go fuck yourself.
I'm so fucking hard right now.
I didn't need to know that. Thank you. That's I don't know how to feel about that information. Also, Damasura. God damn it! Fuck. Damasamura also wanted me to say "oh whoa" and Necro Child as well. Ooh, ooh, woo. Why? Why all of you? Why all at once? No, fuck off. I hope each and every one of you eats nothing but boiled cabbage for the rest of your lives.
Because they wanted to make Daddy Rhino happy.
Die.
Thank you, Circe's audience. You guys are the best. no matter what Source says about you.
I say a lot of negative things about them, trust me.
Scott D says, if anyone wants to rename the Gulf, MapQuest has a page for that very purpose. Yeah, how do you think I did this? I'm too lazy to do that myself. Jack, piece of shit Biek. Okay, so Bernie said Trump and his American oligarchs. Oh, that's a new hat.
Lord Ozar, thank you for deeming your points for an Professor Tesla art. Thank you for deeming your points for an wow. That long-winded fucking one. That one.
The one that he did.
That one. Yes, that one.
So Bernie Sanders said Trump and his American oligarchs are now openly aligning themselves with Putin and his Russian oligarchs. This Putin-Trump alliance means abandoning our allies, supporting authoritarianism, and undermining our democratic traditions. To which Jack, piece of shit Biek, says Bernie will always side with the warmongers in the end. It's how he keeps the power on in his mansions. So is he saying he's going to side with Trump and Putin? Because
they are the warmongers there?
Putin could very easily just, stop invading Ukraine.
Well, they're trying to say that the only reason that you would be against Russia invading Ukraine is if you want the war to continue. It's so weird to me. We've never before had the United States tell one of its allies that shame on them for defending themselves against a fucking tyrannical government.
How dare you fight back when you're invaded?
That's just not a fucking thing we've done in the past.
If you didn't want to be invaded, you shouldn't have worn a miniskirt.
Look at how Ukraine was. Look at what it was wearing.
Yeah. So sure, making fun of Bernie for having a couple mansions. He has many more houses than most people will have at this point in their lives. He's very rich. Sure, fine. You can criticize the fact that he advocates for socialism while being wealthy. Go for it. I'm right there with you. But how is that related to this? This isn't about socialism. This is about not wanting Ukraine to be taken over by Russia.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders has an estimated net worth of $3 million, which, don't get me wrong, that is a lot of money. It does make him part of the 1%.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of every other fucking corporate CEO, it's a blip in the fucking radar.
Mm-hmm. Well, how much is Jack Posobiec worth?
Let's see here. I can check this here. Jack Posobiec. First thing I get is he's an alt-right political activist.
Well, obviously.
One American Network anchor. Let's see here. I'm not seeing his net worth on here. Let's see.
Huh. Usually... That's funny because I have a net worth page.
And it's wrong.
Oh yeah, it's way wrong.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on his actual public net worth.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that it's not there. Maybe somebody in the chat will be more efficient at finding this than I am, but
I want to know how these people do their math. They say I earn an estimated $14,000 a year, but then they pin my net worth at $250,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, how many people do you know making poverty wages basically that also have a net worth of $250,000? Ugh. Just got back from the vet. What did I miss? I was comparing my net worth to Jack Posobiec, and his is unknown, but mine is also unknown, but there's a website that thinks it knows it. I mean, I do have a house.
I do have a house as well.
And I mean, I guess just because of the housing market, if I were to sell the house and not buy another one, I would make quite a bit of money. But the thing is, I need somewhere to live.
Yeah.
So Yet the only reason I can have a house is because I bought a house back when they were like literally a quarter of the price they are now. So yeah, if I don't mind being homeless, I could be rich. But I don't want to be homeless.
You're saying you don't want to be homeless? Why?
No, I don't. I mean, I suppose my dad would probably let me live in his barn. But like
it sounded like you almost said van.
No, barn. He's got a barn.
My dad would let me live in his van.
No, it's a nicer building than the word barn entails. So like when we sleep over at his place, like we'll bring the kids there for like New Year's Eve or whatever. We'll sleep in the barn. I would not want to live in there with 5 kids. We would all go insane. Yeah. Anyway. Oh yeah. Did you see this one? Kanye West?
Yep, I did. I covered it.
Yep, just straight up said, I am a Nazi.
He said a lot more that day than that.
Oh,
but
he did, but that was the big one.
He had a whole fucking crash out. He said Hitler was fresh?
You said Hitler had some good ideas.
Yep. I mean, this is not the first time
he launched a webpage selling a swastika?
Yep. And he advertised it during the Super Bowl.
Oh, I didn't see
that. He had a Super Bowl. He had a...
I wonder why 1 Million Moms didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, he had a local Super Bowl advert for his website selling swastika merch.
Now that I think about it, you did mention that during that part of it, but because I wasn't aware of it, I didn't really pick up on it.
It's wonderful. It's great.
There were no
fantastic.
Titties. Yeah, advertising a swastika is fine, but titties are too far.
Titties bad.
I'm sorry. If I have to expose my children to, like, if I have the choice, I can either let my children see a pair of naked breasts or expose them to Nazi ideology. I would much rather they see the naked breasts.
But one of these things...
It's just a boob. It ain't gonna mess them up.
Yeah.
At least one of my children has their own. But, yeah, no. Hitler ain't fresh, he is musty and dead, says Artemist. But like, yeah, no, just a human body is just so much more, like, more harmless or less harmful, which would be the better way to say that. Yep. It's just...
Senshini says the swastika is a threat of violence and should be treated as such. I agree.
Yeah.
But J.D. Vance, when he went to Munich, told Germany that they should dial back on their laws against the swastika.
Yeah, he also snubbed the Chancellor of Germany so that he could go speak to the AfD. So he literally went to speak to their far-right Nazi party and did not go to speak to the actual Chancellor of Germany. And, like, if he was just a private citizen, then whatever, that's yikesy, but fuck you. I don't care. But he's the Vice President of the United States, and he's saying, no, I don't want to talk to the leader of the country. I just want to talk to the Nazi party.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. Fuck these guys. Lobo says, we rightfully have the Gulf of Uwu. I'm also for changing French fries to freedom fries. So, speaking of Bush being better.
Then she tagged Trump going, ahem. Look at me, I'm so good.
So remember earlier tonight when we were talking about how, like, I am nostalgic for George Bush and his bullshit.
The alternative is Lobo.
No, but, like, freedom fries is a Bush era thing. Like, yeah, let's go back to the Bush era. We'll do the stupid freedom fries things if we can just have some degree of normalcy.
Yeah. I want to die a little bit though.
But also, like, this is one of those things where, like, they seem to think, like, even if if all the checks and balances fail and Trump successfully becomes a dictator, does that really, like, do they really think that he has the ability to change cultural things like that? Like, I mean, yeah, he can write an executive order saying there are freedom fries, not French fries, but, like, I live in Canada. We make poutine out of French fries. We're not going to start calling them freedom fries because Donald Trump issued an executive order.
Also, Jack
Like
and Will, thank you for resubscribing. I appreciate it.
Like, believe it or not, the United States is actually a minority of people in the world. Most of the rest of the world, they're not going to change what they call food items because the president issued an executive order. Like, what kind of Orwellian 1984 bullshit do they think this is? And like,
they think it's Orwellian 1984 bullshit, of course.
Well, yeah,
but
they're rooting for the party. Like,
yeah,
those were the bad guys of 1984. Oh yeah, and Donald J. Trump says, "He who saves his country does not violate any law." That's not authoritarian whatsoever.
I wonder if somebody hypothetically were to emulate a recent video game character in relation to the president of the United States, could that be considered saving the country? And if that is the case, then would that not violate a law? Like
that occurred to me as well. Like, this sounds like he's giving people permission to take some chances.
Take some chances, take some action. It feels like a stupid thing to suggest.
Yeah, it's like, I was saving the country. Clearly, him and Elon are threats, as well as a couple of Supreme Court justices. Didn't violate any laws because I was saving the country, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's very fuck around and find out. It's very asking other people to fuck around and find out. I don't know if he realizes that this is just going to cause more people to be emboldened against him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Lady Badash says, Mr. Rhino, I have a question. Thoughts on talk of people wanting Canada to join the EU? I hadn't heard of people wanting Canada to join the EU. I know the E in EU stands for Europe, and that would be weird to have Canada in there as well. But I actually, like, I'd have to actually look down, look at and see what the implications are. But I feel like that's actually not a bad idea. It's like, it seems like a lot of, like, anytime an app or a company or whatever is found to be doing something super duper shady and sketchy with people's data, it always ends up being like, oh, the European Union has now passed a law to fix that. And so this app now will, like, because it's easier for the company to just make their app universally apply with the strictest law rather than making different apps for different countries, everybody benefits from the EU having the stricter laws. There's also stuff like in the EU, your turn signals, your rear turn signals can't be red because it's stupid to have your turn signal just be your brake light blinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's just dumb. And yet in North America, most cars, it's just a blinking brake light for some reason. Whereas in the EU, it has to be orange and a certain size. And there's all sorts of things like that where, like, the EU's regulations make more sense. They're more consumer friendly. They're better. So, like, my gut reaction is like, yeah, I would be perfectly happy to have Canada join the EU. That'd be great. So, like, I can't really think of any downsides.
Yeah, I can see that.
It might encourage our government to do better healthcare, since there are a lot of fucking countries in the EU that have better healthcare than we do. Which I know this is weird with you, the American, on the show, listening to me complain about my healthcare.
Yeah, it's everything feels better than the American system, and yet
Rhino's channeling technology connections on that turn signal thing. Where do you think I learned about it? I love technology connections. I accidentally bought the same car that he has. And then I saw it in one of his videos and was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that car in his videos.
Turn Ambassador says, you remember the fire department captain that the right were blaming for the LA fires? She was recently found murdered.
Oh. What?
Bets on that being inspired by this tweet?
That's disgusting.
I don't know. And if so, Jesus fucking Christ.
That is depressing. Okay, so I think we can officially take the like people saying there will be a death toll for Donald Trump's presidency. We can just say no, there is now.
Yeah, there is a death toll.
She wouldn't have been the first, but yeah. Okay. Well, now I was
now
all
that
happy.
You're sad.
I was all happy about joining the EU, even though that's never going to happen. But
yeah, sorry to rip happiness away from you.
yeah. Oh, Jasso with another hat. Wizard hat. Yeah, put the seam in the front. Put the hat's butthole in my front. Okay. Oh yeah, and of course, the official White House Twitter account posted the quote from Trump, what he posts on True Social: congestion pricing is dead. Manhattan and all of New York is saved. Long live the king. With a photoshopped image of Trump in a crown with the words "Long live the king" in there. So like, we just straight up acknowledging that he's a dictator now. It's like, realistically, like this was a fight over municipal tolls. Like a city was deciding how they wanted their tolls to work, and the president came in and was like, "Oh no, states' rights? Fuck that. City rights? Fuck that. I am the executive. I will make sure that your tolls in your city are different."
What's funny about this is that nobody would disagree that Nazi Germany was a dictatorship. However, what people may not realize is that Nazi Germany was not a dictatorship of Hitler. It was a dictatorship of the party. You get a dictatorship of the party when they are able to enact their laws with carte blanche. As of right now, if Trump's executive orders do not get slapped down by the judicial branch, and if he's able to keep doing his shit without Congress intervening because they win their seats in 2026, we have the same thing at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That is, if you don't believe me on those historical points,
I feel like if there are still elections in 2026, the Republicans are going to lose hard. However, I also think that Democrats need to not rely on it just being a matter of Trump bad, therefore we win. They need to actually do shit.
Yeah, that's why
I'm looking at you, Adam.
That's why I'm doing everything in my power on the local side right now to try to affect that positively. There's only so much I can do, but I think I mentioned to my audience that I got nominated, and not for a good reason, but
Artemis,
I did get
he's talking about the midterms. They do congressional elections every 2 years. So the next ones are 2026.
And then our local elections are happening this November as well. But no, I got nominated for the vice presidential seat for the Paulding County Democrats, which doesn't mean that I have it. It doesn't mean that I'll even successfully get it. But it is a thing that happened. So
now I'm just picturing your political career taking off, and then one day as you're running for president, they uproot this YouTube channel. Like, look at all the cum jokes he made. We can't elect him.
You know what's funny? So the District 14 at one point, and I don't know who exactly was responsible for this, but they ousted Brittany Tenenbaum for running against Marjorie Taylor Greene in favor of Marcus Flowers running against Marjorie Taylor Greene, which didn't work very well either. And the argument they gave was that she had done burlesque and cosplay, and that was seen as frowned upon.
First Lady?
Yes, I have. But
I've seen all of her.
My gross. But
there's nothing wrong with doing that for a living.
No, there's not. I'm just saying, in terms of people that I would want to see naked, she's very low on the list.
What came next with the whole Trump thing?
Was it Trump that came next? Because that's gross.
No, he would have come first, not next.
That's entirely fair. But I
Thank you,
am
Olivia.
worried a little bit that may cause some issues because I am going to be trying to run for Paulding City Councilman. If nobody else takes that seat, but everybody has been telling me that everybody who's ever uttered the words, if nobody else volunteers for this position, I'll do it, is always the one that gets volunteered for the position. So that may be what is happening. Anyway, the point is, I am worried about some of the things the party may try to do, but if I have a position of leadership in the party, maybe I'll be able to prevent them from doing stupid shit like they did with Brittany.
All right. Well, Clueless Expert says one day when Circe is running for president, someone redeems 50,000 points. You're in the middle of the debate stage, and you have to waste time going, my opponent makes a really good point, but...
Razor says, are we that desperate? The problem isn't the type of work. Look, it's less about desperation, and it's more about being tired. It is very about being tired. I'm tired of the way that my party operates, so I'm going to fucking change it. I am an obstinate enough motherfucker that if I don't like how something is, I will just do what I can to fucking fix it instead of complaining. I mean, I'll complain about it too, don't get me wrong. That will happen as well. But no, I am obstinate and arrogant enough to think that I have the ability, so I'll just fucking do it.
Yeah, you just let me know when we need to unlist all of the videos from this channel.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for anybody to use anything that I've said against me. I'm just like, okay, cool. Do you want me to defend all that stuff? I can. It'll be fun.
Yes, I did make a cum joke. Are you sure you don't want to talk about punching Nazis?
You seem to be very on board with the idea of political violence. Yeah, we have police officers. Next question. What do you mean by that? We have police officers.
That is political violence.
That is definitionally political violence.
Ask the libertarians sometime. That's the one thing they get right.
Like, yes, I'm okay with political violence. Why? Because we already do it. The question for political violence has never been whether or not it's okay. It's always been who's allowed to enact it.
Okay, Plow King, I know you're saying uwu gate. This isn't specific to you, but like, can we stop using gate as a suffix for that? It's like, it's named after Watergate, but it wasn't Watergate Gate. Watergate was the name of the hotel. Like, why does gate get put it like that? It doesn't make any fucking sense. You're just gonna let me hang there. Okay, fine.
Yep.
I'm the only person who cares about using language correctly, okay?
Mastergate.
Defend the cum, Cirrus.
Common vernacular says bite me.
Or the lack of commas in that sentence makes it possible to read that in multiple different ways. Is it defend the cum, Cirrus, or defend the cum,
Defend
Cirrus?
the cum, Cirrus. There's a slime Cirrus already. Why do you need a cum Cirrus?
I mean, they could be the same thing.
Is a cum Cirrus just like
is your cum pink?
Oh god, we're going back to the Vaporeon thing now. Did you know that with enough you could turn it white?
Did you know that I'm your baby daddy anyway? So
did you know that in terms of male-female human compatibility, Vaporeon is...
I forgot about that. Okay. Okay. Moving on. Alex Berenson says, this is not a joke, it's as bad as can be. T-cell exhaustion and depletion are, well, they're AIDS, and their finding is from a team led by one of the world's top immunologists. We really need to know how often this is happening. William Wolf retweeted that saying, the COVID vaccine is literally giving people AIDS. Remember this, they ruined your life if they didn't want you to, if you didn't want to take the jab. Time to arrest Fauci.
What?
So this is referring to a study that is currently in preprint. It has not passed peer review, so it could be complete nonsense. I don't actually know. But the thing is, yes, it has been shown that there is a unique reaction that some people have to the mRNA vaccines that has been dubbed, I forget what it is. It's like VASP or something. Like it's a new vaccine side effect category.
It is a VASP.
Yeah, something like that. but it's and yes, it does affect the immune system. The study, if the study pans out, the T cells that are the same ones that, like, one of the criteria to determine whether you have progressed from HIV to AIDS is your T cell count, one specific type of T cell, and that is the same specific type of T cell that they found was impacted. But you'll notice I said that's one of the criteria to determine whether or not you've progressed to AIDS. Like, having a low T cell count does not automatically mean you have AIDS. That is a stupid thing to say. AIDS is a very specific thing that is not just anything that lowers the T cell count. It turns out biology is complicated. There's a lot of different things that can do that. But even setting all that aside, even if everything that they said is true, that it literally lowers your T cell count and you effectively have AIDS, even if it's not actually AIDS. The thing is, it happens in, like, I looked into this. All of the studies, the number of people affected by this have been in the hundreds. Do you know how many people have had the vaccine?
Millions.
Over
Actually,
5 billion.
Yeah, I was about to say, never mind, not millions, billions.
Over 5 billion. This is one of the most widely distributed vaccines in human history. And, like, the fact that the number of people suffering from this are in the hundreds, and on top of that, you know what one of the side effects of COVID is?
It can suppress your immune system.
It can suppress your immune system. It can lower your T cell count. Like, when I was reading the studies describing what the symptoms are of this new vaccine side effect, it was like, oh, that sounds just like long COVID. It was all the same symptoms. So, like, yeah, for the people that it affects, it fucking sucks. I'm sorry that happened. But, like, if you had the actual virus, probably would have been worse.
Axel says, T cell? What are these woke transgender cells?
And yes, Sean Helfin says, luckily we have medicine that counteracts that particular T cell problem. Oh yeah, and we also have a German man who's taken the shot 482 times for everybody else. That's right, I forgot about that.
I have assembled all 5 special vaccines.
Yeah. Scott D says, know what I got before I got the COVID vaccine? A hole in my lung from COVID. Yeah, because it turns out, like, yes, the vaccines have side effects. Often, the side effects of the vaccine are the same side effects that you'd get from getting the disease. But you know what? They're usually significantly less intense than if you got them from the disease.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. No,
because with an mRNA vaccine,
I would rather have this new side effect thing that they're experiencing than have long COVID.
Because with an mRNA vaccine, you're literally asking your body to build the virus into itself, and then learn how to fight it.
Yeah,
it's different. It's different than an old school vaccine where you give a dead virus to the body and it goes, "Oh shit, that's a thing that I don't like."
It makes sense that there would be new side effects that we haven't seen before.
Yeah. Like, for those who just don't know what the fuck an mRNA vaccine even is, we literally hand you the genetic code for the disease.
My recent video on Frank Turek, he made the comment that you cannot change any part of the cell without shutting down the whole thing.
What?
Like, okay, we have mRNA vaccines that literally what they do is they just inject a little bit of messenger RNA that causes a new protein to grow on the cell. It literally, the whole way it works is by changing a little bit of your cell.
Yeah, it creates a spike protein.
Yeah. So it's like, no, you're just wrong. Also, stem cells are a thing that exist. Their whole thing is that they can change, they can modify into, yeah, there we go. Artemis pulled it up as well. Thank you for that. Like, multicellular life as we know it would not be possible if it were impossible to modify an existing cell, because that's a stem cell's whole thing. And you can't grow a multicellular organism the way that the ones that we have on Earth grow without cell differentiation. So, yeah, Frank is an idiot when it comes to biology, but people Like that video I did out of spite, like somebody commented on one of my older videos how like, oh, I always go after the bottom of the barrel, low quality people who don't know the best arguments. He wouldn't dare cover the hard hitters like Frank Turek. And I was like, okay, well, I've covered Frank Turek like half a dozen times or so already, but like I'll do another one just so I can use this as the comment of the day and be like, there you go, I covered Frank. Happy? And yeah, Frank is just as bad as I remember him being.
Did you respond to the commenter with a link to the new video?
No, I did not.
So you didn't go full spite.
That would take effort.
Spite takes effort.
Yeah,
Own it. Do it. You got this?
I got more important fish to fry.
I believe in you. You can do it.
Okay, that was the last tweet.
Sarah Tagrita says Frank Turok. No, Turok's actually cool. He hunts dinosaurs.
No, Frank Turek.
Yeah, Frank Turek himself because he's an idiot.
He's the guy who's like, oh, well, we've discovered this new thing. It's called epigenetics, and epigenetics are the structure of the cell. Like, no, proteins are the structure of the cell. Epigenetics are environmental factors that can change the way DNA is read, which, yes, does affect the proteins. And yes, one epigenetic factor is the way DNA itself is packaged into chitin. So, like, in a sense, yes, but no. Anyway, he also is a fan of using like the last time I talked about, or the last time I responded to Frank Turek before fucking hats.
Many hats.
I'm gonna start making the hats cost the same as your ooze cost. But yeah, no,
that's right. Learn the lessons I learned.
One of the semi recent videos I did on Frank was he was talking about DEI, and like what to do if you get called into a DEI meeting. And his advice was basically behave in such a way that guarantees that you'll get fired, rather than just like go to the training and just sit through it, because sometimes we have to do trainings we don't like in order to keep a job.
Has Frank ever considered that he's just kind of a piece of shit?
Yeah, but in that video, he went into there's the Swedish study that looked at like trans people in between the 1970s and 2003 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, well, according to this study, trans people have a 20 times more likely to commit suicide than non-trans people. And
yeah, Mike Winger used that argument as well.
Yeah, and well,
I don't think he realizes that he's the reason that happens.
No, actually, might have been Winger actually that acknowledged it. Someone I responded to fairly recently actually acknowledged that, like, yeah, it's social factors that are causing this.
Yeah, it wasn't Winger that acknowledged it. Like, Winger uses it in his quote secular argument against being LGBTQ.
Yeah, but if you actually read the goddamn study, it says right in it that the elevated risk for suicide only existed in people that received surgery before 1989. And then it goes on to say that the reasons we think that this effect dropped off after that was because of improved medical treatments and improved social attitudes. So, like, if you're actually using that as an argument for why people shouldn't be trans, then you shouldn't argue that people shouldn't be trans, because it shows that when you just treat them with respect and give them medical care, everything's fine.
This is why when you're dealing with any of these chuckle fucks...
Artemis is asking if we heard about the plane that flipped over during landing in Toronto. Yeah, no, that was our first tweet. That was the DEI plane.
I don't understand how DEI is responsible. I really don't.
It's not. It's just it's the boogeyman of the day.
It was CRT a couple years ago.
Then it was woke. Now it's DEI. And it all means the same thing.
Anything that is different than us, which usually means black people, trans people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so, yep, that's it for tonight.
Do you remember when Tim
Yeah, also
Gurner...
everybody's okay because of Canadian healthcare. Okay. I do like our healthcare system, but like there's only so much that a doctor can do no matter how much you're paying for them if like your head pops off during the crash. Like I feel like everybody's okay because it was a fairly low speed, low altitude thing.
Do you remember when Tim Gurner said that we should hit 50% unemployment rate because employees need to remember who the fuck's boss?
No, I don't remember that.
He's the 154th richest man in Australia.
Sounds like a really dumb thing to say.
It was a really dumb thing to say. It's like man, Mario Brothers is a cool game.
Yeah, like yeah, no, I don't. Mario Brothers is a cool game. Okay, I put the pieces together. Took me a little while.
And I'm just like, man. Oh, right. I remember why I brought that up, because you were mentioning the social factors being linked to suicide for trans people and LGBTQ people. So we looked up a study earlier during the stream where I was like, man, I wonder if unemployment rates increasing has a direct impact on mortality rates. Here's a study from 2023 in Sweden. And oh, shit, they do. God, that's so weird that there's a direct causal link between unemployment rates and higher rates of suicidality, higher rates of preventable death, higher rates of disease. Man, that's so weird. It's almost like saying you want a higher unemployment rate is saying I want a bunch of people to fucking die.
Van Briggs says, Cirrus dances around TOS wasn't on my bingo card tonight. Have you seen our stream in recent weeks? That's basically all we do now.
Yeah. There's like a lot of TOS dancing.
Yep. Like, there's a reason I preface a lot of things with, I'm not advocating for violence, but...
I'm not advocating for violence. I just understand the need for it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So, are you going to continue streaming after this?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I shall raid you then. So, yeah, as always, fuck off.